Hi, Trisha Fratello with Creo Design Workshops here. I am here to teach you how to string art, and I'm so excited to introduce this new piece of my business to be able to do it from your home. And this is extra special because so many people are in need of doing stuff from home these days with our shelter in place. So I've wanted to do this for quite some time, and this has just really encouraged me and to do this and to offer this to the community. So yes, today we are going to learn how to create a string art piece. And so this is a wine glass string art piece. This is a lot of fun. And what you'll need is a design, and if you've ordered a kit from me, you will have a design, a piece of wood, nails, string, and hardware if you want, and that's the D-ring and the screw, and that's if you want to hang your piece up on the wall instead of set it up on a shelf. What you will need is from home is a hammer, and you can order one of these off my website, and these are really nice. These are lightweight, 7.5 ounces. Some of the hammers out there are really heavy, and it can be hard on your wrist to have to hammer so many nails. So those are on my website to purchase for just $6. And so yeah, scissors, a screwdriver if you wanted to screw in your hardware to the back of your piece to hang it up, and a ruler to help place those screws on the back of your piece. So let's go ahead and get started. And also you can see here I have a towel. This is helpful because it helps absorb some of the sound when hammering, because it can be kind of loud sometimes. So I like to do this. I especially use the towel when my kids have gone to bed, because I don't want to wake them up, and I do this a lot when they're sleeping. Okay, so when you're placing your design, you want to watch out for some of these knots in your wood. I love the knots, but they are quite difficult to hammer through. So when you're placing your design, just you can turn your piece of wood so your knot is either in the middle of your design or on the outside of your design. You just want to make sure it's not right on the line of where you're going to be hammering. So I liked my design going this way, and my knot is going to be right in the middle of my butterfly wing. So to hold your design in place, you don't have to tape it. You can just start hammering. So I like to just hammer one nail on the top. So these are 1/8" nails. They're 1 inch exactly. So when I'm hammering, I just hammer them halfway down. So about a half an inch is sticking out. You don't have to measure it with a ruler. I just kind of eyeball it. So I hammer 2 in, one kitty corner from the other, and that will kind of, there you go. And that will place your, that will place your design where you want it. So as you're hammering, if you don't have the dots on your design, you'll want your nails about a ½ inch apart. So that's half of your nail. So you'll want your nails hammered in about a ½ inch down, half of your nail, and you want your nails a half an inch apart. So about like that. But you can see where I've placed the dots on this. Some of them are closer together than others. So I wanted to catch a lot of detail in this, this circle. So I wanted to make sure that that was like, I put more nails there. But when you're doing like a straightaway line, that's gonna be all string eventually anyway. I'm not curving or anything, so I just needed one nail there and one nail there. So we do have a little bit of angles here and here, so I've added, so on some of them they're closer than others, but a good rule of thumb is just to do it, place your nails about a half an inch apart. So I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead to where I have already hammered. Make sure I got all of that. So when you have your nails all hammered in, and this is going to be a wave. Isn't that cool? Don't forget to tear off your paper before you start stringing. And when you're tearing off your paper, just pull up as much as you can. And that will eliminate a little bit more debris left behind than tearing it like this. See, that didn't really work very well. So yeah, just kind of pull up on it and you'll still have some debris left over. And you guys can pause this video, of course, or like fast forward once you get to this part. You don't have to watch it all at one time. And then if you do have some leftover pieces, you can just kind of pull them out. If you have needle nose pliers, you can do it that way. But actually, sometimes just using a nail. So I just have that one piece right there, and then because that's where I like tore it to the side. You can kind of pick it out with another nail. And this one's gonna be super tricky, of course. It's not normally so hard. There we go. Okay, so that is with the wood. I was still able to get some with this. I really loved this piece of wood, and I couldn't figure out a way to have that knot. Anyway, so I ended up having to go through a knot. And when I did that, it's still possible. I just had to go, I had to use like 3 or 4 nails to get through here because they'd bend. So I just had to pave the way with some other nails, and had a few casualties, and then eventually it just went through. So don't stress about it. When you are hammering, you can always, when they are bent, you can just kind of hammer them back into place. You can go back over it and hammer some that are taller than others if you've noticed that. If you can see an area where you like a little bit more of a bend, you can bend your nail that way with your hammer. Like, oh, I want more of a detail right there. So you can play with it after you're done to straighten them out, but they don't have to be perfect. Okay, so when you are tying your string, actually, where's the end of this one? You can start wherever you want. So I want the dark blue on the bottom of this wave. So as I'm tying my string, you can actually just start with a loop and start tying a knot, but don't tighten your knot all the way. Can you see that? Just don't tighten it all the way. And then when you get that loop, put it around a nail and then tighten it. And then do a double knot. but leave your free string long enough to where you can come back and tie. You're going to want to tie this back off to end it to this eventually. So don't cut that string. And when you're stringing, it doesn't really matter which way you go. You can go zigzag, just back and forth. Back and forth, back and forth. Every once in a while, I like to call it saving my work. Oh, sorry. By like circling the nail. Because when you're doing it so tight, if you are doing it really, really tight, every once in a while your thread will slip and it will just like kind of flop undone. So do it tight, but not super tight, because then there's not as much like bounce or pull back once it's let go. And then, yeah, save your work every once in a while by circling a nail. So your goal here is to just be filling in gaps. So it doesn't matter which way you go. You can go wherever you want. Like if you're like, oh, there needs to be a gap filled in right here, you can go over that direction. You can go long ways. I'm doing this one just kind of messy, but you don't have to. So like on this one, you can see I have a little bit of a pattern, but that is my top layer. So I had a direction going one way under here, but then I started another direction going this way under here. So like my final layer, and I did quite a few layers on this. You don't have to do that many layers. I just like the way it looked on that one. But you don't, I mean, a lot of people just do the one layer and they call it good. So like this one, I ended up doing I did a lot of the string for Tyson because the string was a little bit too fine for him. He helped out a little, but the hammering was pretty much good. Like he was like just super proud of the hammering itself. But you can see how I like outlined the edges of this with black. I outlined, he did a lot of like the eyes, but I outlined the edges of that. This is the creeper from Minecraft, if you guys know Minecraft at all. I did a little bit of a design on this succulent wreath and the pot. You can see I did a little design on the top of that pot, but a lot of it's just messy, but I still outlined it. And when you're outlining things, you don't have to go around every nail. So like you don't have to go around this one and then this one and then this one and then this one. If it's a straight line, you can actually skip a couple nails. I mean, skip a nail and then go around that third one. Skip a nail, go around that third one. And then you can also outline in a different color if you want it to pop. Like if I were to do it all this olive color, that would have just all kind of blended together and you wouldn't really be able to tell what it is. So since I had different textures and different colors, I decided to outline it in an off-white color. So as you're stringing, another thing that might be helpful, if you have a straight, I'm trying to think if I have an example. So on this one, if there's that straight line right there, you can go around your nails going this way and then around your nails going that way. And then you can crisscross them even if you want. If you don't want it to be that dainty line, I think this would be pretty cute, just like that dainty string line, because those are so, the antennas of the butterfly are so tiny. But if you wanted a thicker line, yeah, you could go around it this way and then around it that way. And then you could even crisscross to make that line thicker. I think I did, yeah, I did that on this pot. I wanted a really thick line. So as you can see, I went around the outside, around the outside, around the outside, and then I went back going around the inside, and then I crisscrossed, going from that side of the nail to that side of the nail, that side of the nail to that side of the nail. So there's a way to make those lines thicker if you wanted to. So I'm not going to finish this, but I want to make sure I'm giving you guys all of the instructions I wanted to give you. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's about it. So when you are securing, so when you are complete, you'll come back. It doesn't matter where you are. So if you're clear over here, if you're clear at the end and you're like, but wait, how do I get back to this string that I need to tie off on? And sometimes you guys have two sets of strings too, like some of you have multiple reds that I've given you that are bound up in little bundles. So you'll need to tie off every once in a while. Just make your way back. And so you can do that and you won't even be able to tell by coming back, by bouncing around and making your way back. And I just like to loop around that and then double knot it. And maybe even triple knot it on your last one to secure it. So you can have your string all the way, I like mine all the way up to give it that three-dimensional look. I've seen people push it down. Sometimes when you do have a nail that has a lot of string on it, your string will start to pop off of it. So do push that down a little bit to give it more space to fit more string. But yeah, I mean, it depends on what you like, but I like that look of it being like three-dimensional. And yeah, I think that's about it. And then you guys can switch colors. You can, if you needed to add another more red, you'll just tie it off. You can tie it off to the same spot, or you can pick another nail. After you cut it, don't cut it too close to your knot, otherwise it will come undone. Leave a little bit, maybe like an 1/8 of an inch or something, and then you can just like tuck it under your string art. You can move that knot so it's not showing. So yeah, when you are done, and I've got I wrote coronavirus 2020 so we could remember we did it during our during our shelter in place, because we've been trying to find good memories, because this is going to be a piece of history that's going to be in textbooks. So I wanted my kids to do something that they could remember this experience by. I mean, it's not a great experience to remember, but still, to be able to talk about it with their kids and their grandkids and stuff, this is just a fun way to do that, to be able to remember it. So I like to grab a ruler and I place it so it is, sorry you guys, this is actually my first video on instructions. I've been doing virtual workshops, but this is the first time I've done a video instruction where I'm just talking to myself. So if you guys can see, that's about 2 inches down, and then I just put the edge of the ruler, so that's an inch. Oh, that's an inch away from the edge, and I just put a dot on the corner. So I actually wasn't quite on the corner of the ruler. So that's where my screw is going to go in, my D-ring, to hang up my piece. So when you can either use an electric screwdriver or you can use a nail to pave the way here for your screw. I feel like it's easier to have that nail pave the way if I'm not using an electric screwdriver. So I just nail it in and then I pull it right back out. And then you should have 2 per piece if you ordered a kit from me. 2 D-rings and 2 screws. And then it just kind of helps pave the way for your screw. Otherwise, your screw is going to be slipping around. And when you, I know it's hard to get those nails perfectly straight on your wall. So if you want, you can tie a string from one D-ring to your other D-ring and hang it up from one string, or twine or wire. And if you wanted to do it that way, you might want to go about 3 or 4 inches down. So about right there. That gives you more space for your string. And I think that's it. And this is, so I am now selling these kits, and this is new. It's been something I've wanted to do for quite some time, but I haven't had time. I've been more focused on events and workshops. I teach workshops, Sip and Craft workshops. I teach at Ruth Bancroft Gardens, at the Gala, different restaurants and breweries, and it's been my passion. I love bringing creativity to our community, giving a chance for corporate America to reclaim their creativity and just reset. It is my craft therapy, and I believe it's definitely my saving grace at times. So I'm so happy to be bringing this to the community, even during our shelter in place. We all need something to bring us joy, and this, I'm so excited to be able to offer these kits to you guys. And like I said, I offer virtual craft workshops online, so you can order your kit and we can still have that piece of connection and experience together. It's a lot of fun to be able to grab a glass of wine and be able to connect and talk with each other. And I think it's really important that we still do that during these times. So I hope you all enjoy this craft. Please post pictures on my Facebook or tag me in them. I'd love to see them, or just send me a message with your picture. I'd love to share them with the community. You can message me if you want me to share them or if you don't want me to share them. And if you want to order a kit, go to www.creodesignparties.com And I'm also offering private virtual parties. So if you wanted to do this with your family and they're out of state and it's a way you wanted to connect with them, that's also an option. So I am so glad that you guys are watching this, and if you made it towards the end, congratulations. If you haven't, you'll get there. So I hope to talk to you or see you all soon. Have a good one.